Hello beautiful people, I hope you've all been well. This video is going to be all about how to run / own a successful club, and I don't mean the successful as in how to have the most followers or be the most popular. I mean the type that people will remember and the one that leaves a legacy, so even when you're not around it's still talked about. And I feel as though that these small things will follow, things like having a huge audience, having all of these supporters, having club members that want to actually involve and be included daily. So I've only ever owned family and hangout clubs due to my real life circumstances, so that's just what I'll be basing these points off today. I obviously know that there's heaps of different clubs out there and they can be run very differently. So at the moment I own an adult social group, and this isn't an official in-game club. It is just a cute, fun way to get a group of girls together and make friends whilst feeling like, I guess, you're part of something when you log into the game. We have a uniform that you can recognise us by. We still do events in the game, and because this is open for girls across all servers, so Australia, internationally, all of that, we do time zone friendly activities, so things that, you know, may take a week to be able to submit, like for example trying to get a high score in a race or something, so it at least gives everybody the time. Or there might just be things that we do on Discord as well that they're more than welcome to join, but nothing is compulsory, no attendance, it doesn't exist, it's just to show up if you can. Obviously everyone is entitled to run their club however they like. This is just what's worked for me as a club owner with these types of clubs or groups in particular. So in the future, if you are thinking of, you know, creating one like this, then you might be able to, you know, take something away from this or something that you haven't known before because you've been part of clubs that I guess have been ran very differently. Firstly, making sure you have everything ready before you start gaining members. So you want to make sure that you have a solid start when your first group of members come in, because that is super important. These people will be setting the example for your club and will become the backbone for future members joining. So making sure that you're ready and you can fully invest your time in building those initial bonds. The next one is age requirements. So as an adult player, it is crucial to set an age limit that aligns with yourself. Obviously you can have whatever age limit you like, of course, and what works for you, but it will determine the people you attract. So it's good to just keep that in mind. Setting an age limit that doesn't work well with your lifestyle and schedule is just setting yourself up for failure, because you'll be trying to navigate a group of people that aren't aligning with you. Obviously, if you can make it work, then amazing. But you've got to remember that outside of the game, these people, or what age you choose, they're probably going through those universal experiences that we all go through, like leaving school or, you know, in high school, doing college, traveling. So trying to work your way around people who are just going through a bunch of things at the moment, it just may not work. This next one, I am a huge advocate for. So as I've gotten older, when I've joined clubs or open servers or whatever it may be, reading their list of rules, I've realised that it's not just a list going, I don't want you to do this, I don't want you to do that, blah, blah, blah. It's actually the club owner setting boundaries. It's what the club owner wants and doesn't want to see from you as a member in their server or in their club. Everyone's rules will differ. There's some common rules you'll always see within clubs, but in my personal opinion, not being specific enough with some rules can cause a grey area. So labeling your rules differently and not using those generic terms can actually encourage your members to retain them better, since they're rules that they may not have heard before, or maybe they've actually experienced it and didn't know that that's what it was called. So some of my rules are just the basics. I do have a couple that are a little different, since I want to make sure that I'm covering absolutely everything to avoid people upsetting each other. And this is just because adults just develop new ways to communicate, whether it be positive or negative. So it's important to cover rules that do match your age limit as well. And being able to categorize your rules as well, just so you don't have a huge list. I know I said to be specific, but I mean specific as in what your categorized rules are that cover everything, because you don't want someone to be doing something and if you pull them up on it, they're a bit confused because what they're doing doesn't really fall under what your main rules are. So if it is its own thing, you want to make sure that you are making that its own rule, if that makes sense. So for my first one, I've got respect and trust. We highly value each other, so respecting boundaries is a huge part of this group. Any disrespect will not be tolerated. So obviously that is just a huge category. Like anything can go under respect and trust, really. So making sure that we follow that, that is my number one. My next one is favoritism. It is easy to click with certain girls, but this doesn't mean you make anyone else feel left out or not heard. You share the love around and you always involve others. The reason why I've got this one in here is because when you do have such a large group of people, it is easy for that to happen. You could have the same two people that are just constantly talking in chats and are just ignoring other people who are trying to maybe take part in the chat, or they're saying something and then their chats are just being basically flooded and they just get missed because there's a lot of spamming going on. So just making sure that everybody is heard, all messages are responded to. It's also my job as a club owner as well, that when I go through these messages, I make sure that no one was missed. Another really big one of mine is secret animosity. So I can see this from a mile away, and if I recognise this behaviour, it will be shut down immediately. If you're not sure what this is, secret animosity refers to a situation where someone appears friendly or normal on the surface but actually harbours negative feelings or ill will towards another person. This often stems from feelings of jealousy or unresolved tensions. In essence, it is a form of hidden resentment that can manifest in subtle behaviours despite outward friendliness. I've seen this one a lot in and outside of games, particularly in adult friendship groups, hence why I've got it as a rule, because it is relevant for my group that I've got going at the moment. So the next one I've got is foul language. Obviously, being adults, we swear and it is accepted, but it's to be kept minimal. Any dirty or consistent foul language is not tolerated. Banter is allowed as long as it's okay between you and the other person. Another very popular one is having no drama. So obviously it's easier said than done. I know things are going to happen and you may have disagreements in your group, but making sure that even some of your other rules support not starting any drama as well also helps. So drama from outside of this group is not welcome, nor is drama that's being created in here. So any signs of this will be shut down immediately. Any discussion about drama that's happening outside of the group is to be shut down immediately. You are to have that in your private conversations with your own friends, and that's it. Another one is sensitive topics. We're obviously all ears in here and venting is welcome, although any sensitive topics or words will require a trigger warning or they need to be hidden. Being an adult group, we go through some shit, and a lot of the time we do escape to our friendship groups online to vent to them. If it is about something serious, we obviously go and talk to our private friends about that outside of the server. But if we're just having a basic vent, then it is absolutely fine to do so. But just bearing in mind that anything you say that could be sensitive will need a trigger warning. And if you have forgotten, then I will simply just message you in private and I'll just say, hey, can you hide some parts of that because people might not want to see it. Being adults, we're all pretty good with that stuff anyway, but I do just put the rule there just in case. Never think to yourself, oh, should I write that down? I'm sure these people are more switched on. No, just write it down anyway, because as long as it's there, so that if it is ever happening, at least you can always go back and say hey, this is actually a boundary I've set through this group and this is a rule that we've got. Can you please respect it? So the next one is real life and confidentiality. Making Star Stable friends that become part of your real life is awesome, and we obviously share personal socials, some in real life photos, we share our faces, and they're all welcome, but we ask that please we respect members' privacy, and breach of this is just an instant ban. I certainly didn't make this group for anybody to be taking anybody else's personal information or to be breaching their privacy. I made it because we get to meet new people, we may ever make lifelong friends, and essentially two worlds are colliding, your in real life and the game. So making sure that this applies for both of those things, just to keep people safe, because we don't want any of our personal information getting out if we don't want to. We obviously share what we do inside of this group because we feel safe to do so. So obviously I don't want any of my members to feel like that they can't trust anybody in here. We all need to be on the ball with that. And then my last one is maturity. So we're all adults here. It is expected that we uphold the best behaviour at all times. And I did put at the bottom as well that if I do have to pull you up on something, I just want people to know that there's no hard feelings. It is just my duty of care to make sure everyone's happy and safe. So obviously we don't want to be acting like silly children. We don't want to be saying ridiculous things. We don't want to be doing that. We definitely want to making sure that we're on our best behaviour at all times. And although it seems odd to ask, especially when you've made an adult social group, you expect that that's what's going to happen, but unfortunately sometimes it just doesn't. So you just need to make sure, once again, just have the rule there in case it happens. That's all for my rules. So the next bit of advice for owning a club is being present. You can absolutely be busy and still own a club. It just obviously depends on how you want to run it. If you're a super busy player and you try and aim to have an active club and want events like 3 times a week, then obviously, yes, you are going to struggle, and it is setting unreasonable goals for yourself. So creating a club according to your schedule means that you're going to attract members in a similar boat, and that way you can still own the club. And I find being present as much as you can within the Discord server or whatever group chat you're using is the best way to form connections and make your members feel welcome. So like, just imagine yourself applying for a club and picture how daunting it can be. Ask yourself, what would you expect from those people to make you feel welcome and comfortable? Is it a welcome message? Is it a post? Is it an in-game greeting? So putting yourself in that position really helps familiarize yourself with what you need to do as an owner to be making an impact on new members. If members leave the club for whatever reason, you want to be remembered in the best way possible because of, I guess, all the genuine intentions and love that you had for your members, and just loving them unconditionally and investing your time into them and pouring your heart out means good will follow, and you'll be respected in the community. Support will follow because, yeah, it's not about how many followers you've got or how big or popular your club is. It's actually about having genuine friendships that actually fill your cup, and that they had friends that allowed them to be unapologetically themselves without judgment and to always feel like they're heard. It's also my job to make sure that all of my members' messages, like I said, are always responded to. Another good thing is knowing how to redirect negative behaviour. So if you notice a member that's getting a little too carried away, you can either respectfully pull them up in private depending on how far the situation has gone. But if it's very subtle and you can see that it is going to escalate, then being able to step in and redirect the conversation to something else is a great skill to have. A perfect scenario would be, say a member has just shared something random and another person replies and is disagreeing. Whilst, yes, we are entitled to our own opinions, there is a difference between just stating your opinion respectfully and then just flat out being negative and making the other person feel silly. So if you see the consistency in these negative responses, you can step in and redirect the conversation by saying how you also acknowledge and agree with person number 1, and you can also see where person number 2 is coming from. That way you're setting an example by mutually making both people feel heard and hoping that person number 2 feels the good energy and positivity. And obviously if that doesn't work, then yes, you can obviously take it a bit further. The next thing is setting up a schedule plan. So obviously every schedule plan is going to be different for all clubs. The way that I've been doing it in all of I've done it the same way all the time, and it's always been pretty successful and definitely helps everybody and does make it quite fair. So I'm just not picking a day and then hoping people can make it. So I do this thing where I actually send out a reaction message, usually like on a Sunday or something, so the end of the week, and it has from Monday till the next Sunday, and I get people to react on what day will suit them best for that week for an event. And then once we obviously get a very popular day or maybe a top 3, I will then post another reaction message where I will ask, what time for those days is going to suit best. And that way we can all as a group mutually come to an agreement. Obviously everyone sometimes can't make it, which is absolutely fine. There's going to always be events. It's just my way of being able to accommodate everybody and make sure that at least, everyone gets a turn of being part of an event. But yeah, it's not compulsory. They don't have to join in on them. They can quite simply just be a part of the Discord server and just be making friends. The next thing is just making sure that, you're making things fun for people, and there's no better feeling than having a good old laugh with your friends. So creating that fun environment for them is crucial. They're going to end the night with their last thought being you guys. So you want to make sure it's a nice experience and something that actually makes them feel whole and happy, really. Another thing is focusing on your social media for future members. So obviously Instagram is a huge platform where clubs showcase themselves, and having an account that really reflects the club is very important. You want to make sure that your feed, your posts, and what you share is exactly what you and your club actually are. Otherwise, people will join with a different idea and realize it's not what it actually seemed. If you're running a happy club, your social media will also be an image of that too, and people will see it because it will just be absolutely glowing. You'll have all of your members in the comments really happy to see. They'll show a ton of support. You definitely don't want to be creating a facade just for the social media. You want everything to be true down to the core. And by doing this, you'll gain supporters in return because they will be attracted to your good energy, and in future, you will also find some lovely members. The next thing is treating your members how you would like to be treated. So I gained my members' respect by treating them with the same to begin with. There's absolutely no need for me to be hostile or rude or intimidating at first, essentially giving them the impression that they need to prove to me that they're worthy of being in the club before I'm nice. That's an absolute no-go and just gives mean girl vibes. These are real people and it costs absolutely nothing to be nice. And if people disrespect you and cause trouble for you and the club, the best thing you can do is address the situation if it's necessary and then just remove them and move on. Don't dwell on drama. Having strong relationships with your members means you can bounce back quickly from mess and move on, and you just don't want it to be dragging out for months and months. Just it causes unnecessary conflict between everyone, and I mean this probably applies more for younger clubs. Don't get me wrong, there are some younger clubs out there who are I'm just like, what the hell? You guys are so mature, but unfortunately, I think we all know that, yes, there are people in the community that are very immature and, you know, still have a lot of growing to do outside of the game. But, yeah, take it from someone who's been through the absolute ringer. Adult groups we seem to have this more under control though, because we all get it, we've been there and we don't have any more time for it. So trust me, if you are a younger player and you are experiencing, you know, some pretty shitty stuff in your club or in the community, don't worry, it does get better as you get older. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everything. Like, all in all, it's really just about viewing your club as an actual friendship group, and you'll value these connections more and it will make it actually feel like a home in a way. You may even take these friendships, like I said, outside of the game, and just your overall approach to how you want to be a club owner determines, I guess, how that plays out. It really takes strong leadership, commitment, obviously, and moderation for us busy ladies, and wisdom. You want members to remember you and to come back down the track and say, oh, hey, you used to own such and such and I was part of that. It was the best club I've been in a long time. That is something that I've heard quite a bit from old members, and even some of those friendships I've rekindled, and it actually makes me form happy tears knowing that I had that much of an impact on them. Genuine care definitely gets you a long way, and I'm so proud of all the girls in this group at the moment and how all of my previous clubs have turned out. They all rest in happy memories, but hopefully in your journey of club ownership or even current ownership, you're inspired or you take something away from this. If you're actively doing this already, and well, you're absolutely winning and you're doing just fine. So yeah, I did cut my questing short because that's pretty much all I really needed to say. But I did also try this out and got absolutely humbled. This was actually really difficult. I'm not even gonna So yeah, while you watch me fail miserably, I wish all of you guys the best with future club ownership if you're planning on owning one soon, or maybe you've been inspired to own one like this. Definitely, like a few years ago, probably 5 years ago now, these types of clubs weren't very popular and it was very hard to find them, and now you kind of see them everywhere. So, you know, it's doable and you will get members. It was very hard to get members in these clubs before, because obviously everyone was just like, you know, what kind of club is that? What do you do? What is it? It was kind of a new thing. Yeah, they're very popular now because obviously they accommodate for people who are busy and people who still want to be part of something and play the game. So it's definitely doable, and yeah, I wish you guys all the best. I'm sure you will be successful. So that's all from me, guys. I'll see you all in my next video. Mwah.